Hey everybody, my name is Justin and I'm an applied AI engineer at Inkeep. So we started as a simple chatbot that wrapped ChatGPT, and we've grown that into so much more. So at this conference, I'm going to be showing you what we've learned over the past 2 years, 2 years, and what we've seen when you use the AI to really listen to what the users are asking your documentation, and how that can create a content feedback loop, which we've been implementing in some of our customers today, and that will be releasing at the end of the month. So. What do we do at Inkeep? We answer over 1 million questions monthly, developer questions about how to use their products and who trusts us with their voice. It's like the teams building the future, Anthropic, Cursor, and Posthog. We integrate all of their sources of knowledge across their docs, their blog posts, their support tickets, and we deploy that across anywhere that the users might be interacting with the product, across their docs, their help centers, their apps, and their community. Um, we've doing this for the past 2 years, and have a lot of experience to show. So that is what Inkeep is. It's a AI platform that powers the people that are building the future. So, show of hands for those of you that have like a Docs platform. How many of you have Ask AI in your Docs? Okay, it's like half. It should be more because Ask AI right now is the norm. Developers have come to expect an Ask AI experience in your docs because they want to go straight to getting answers to get building. They don't want to navigate like a documentation tree, and they don't want to talk to any human unless it's absolutely necessary. Support, sales, anybody. So, and if you think about it, developers also judge your product based on how self-serve it is. If they're able to get what they need without interfacing with someone else, then it's like a badge of acceptance if your product is doable or not. So, um, if you don't have Ask AI, you're kind of already behind, but that's not the point of this conversation. It's what is the future? What is beyond Ask AI? And to start with that, let me share a inconvenient truth that AI is only as good as your docs. So, in the last Stack Overflow survey, 41% of developers cited that outdated docs was their main pain point when interacting with AI systems, because it only. And let me show you why. The AI would read your outdated docs, and then it would confidently give the wrong answer to your users. And the tragedy there is that your developers would lose trust in AI, in your product, in you. So there is a solution, and that's what I'm here to show you with our experience integrating AI into developer documentations. So the knowledge to fix that problem is already there, is just not in your docs. And let me walk you through two scenarios. So in like support conversations, a developer like hits a problem and they create a support ticket. And then your team solves that support ticket, but it gets trapped. It's like lost in Slack, it gets buried in Zendesk, and it's lost in email threads. Same with your code base and engineers. Your engineering team makes a change to your product, and it's great, but it's not well publicized, and it just stays hidden in the code base in your PRs. So the result is your docs never improve. The same questions keep coming, and your teams keep solving the same problems over and over again. So what we're doing with AI now is to solve this problem. So same scenario. Your developer creates a support ticket, your team solves it, but then AI can then analyze that solve ticket and create an update to your knowledge base in or FAQ. Same with the engineering team. It can read the feature that was uploaded and create documentation updates. This is something that we've been implementing in the past couple months, and I wanted to show you how it works. So if you're and this is still like more of like a human in the loop process. It's not automatically done yet. So I'll show you like some of the guardrails that we found going along with this process. So there's 3 agents that we've built to handle this process of automatic documentation updates. It's the Insight Finder that monitors all the user interactions and what is a new source of knowledge. It determines if this is new, like does this warrant a documentation update or not. The next one is the content architect, which takes those insights and figures out where in your documentation to place that update. Is it in the existing docs, or maybe it's like a new page, or maybe it's removal of a page if it's something that got removed. And then the third is the smart publisher. It's That's what handles the workflow of routing your content for review, approval, and finally publication. So these three agents that we've pulled together work as a pipeline, and each one has a specific job and passes the information down the knowledge chain. And I'll show you how each of those can be built, starting with the Insight Finder. So the Insight Finder, again, it determines the critical question is if this is new information. And what it does is it compares the new information that it has from the context against your existing documentation, your support ticket, and it determines if there are gaps where your docs are silent or if there's outdated content. And to build this today, you just generally need like to embed your knowledge base into LLM embedding. So OpenAI and LangChain provide these out of the box pretty easily. And then you have to store those in a vector database. We use Pinecone or Supabase to do so. And then to compare the new knowledge against the existing, you'll just need existing a vector retrieval algorithm in combination with like Claude or GPT-4. The key insight when building the insight finder is just to make sure that you clearly define the source of the trigger that started the process. If it's from support tickets, you just need to make sure that you categorize them for first. If it's chat logs, you're just make sure to filter it for the actual question that was asked and relate that directly to the answer that was provided. This helps the agent focus on the knowledge that matters when it's searching your existing content for for updates. So with the content architect, this is where the insight that this is something that's new becomes actual documentation. It first understands your existing documentation structure, where knowledge belongs, and then your formatting, and then it maps the update to the actual page and goes and forward with that. So to build this today, you'll need to just have like read access to your content management system or GitHub. We use Nango internally to manage all these different integrations and making sure the API maps to the right downstream source. And since this is now getting in more into like multi-agent like handoffs, we use Pydantic to create the agents and like map their output and TypeScript and everything like that, and orchestrate it all with LangGraph. And the key consideration here is to make sure that you're making the right diffs. So we're doing like diffs, like line by line updates to the documentation, not full page outputs from each of the agents. Just simpler for the agent to like minimize the context it's needing to update. And also another consideration would be to like, since this is like the actual update that's being considered, to run like multiple agents to have like a multi-score voting system to approve the change that's being made. Then finally is a smart publisher. So the smart publisher we created is the thing that actually goes and makes the pull requests and changes to your docs. Uh, and the thing that makes it smart is that it knows your existing workflows of approval and how to work with that. Because it's not going to make it automatically up to date. It's still going to embed in your existing workflow approval system and so forth. So to build it today, same Nango implementation, just make sure it has write access to the same APIs that you're using. And when you the key insight here is if your downstream system doesn't approve or doesn't enable drafting of content, then you just have to figure out like what would the rollback strategy be in the case that it does go forth and makes a mistake. So that's it there. So we'll see it in action. I actually have like a little code snippet of actual Slack channel support requests that we had at Inkeep, and I'll just show you how exactly the agent might work. So let me share my screen. Okay, I can make it bigger, but so the actual support question that we received was we do all our support in Slack right now, but we also integrate with others for our customers. But someone had a question about if it's possible to update the knowledge base with if we go down, we're going to paste the whole thing. If they're wondering if they can query a specific source and get the relevant document chunks. So they're wondering if they can like use the API that we provide to our customers to filter the sources that it's considering when answering a customer question. And then Robert, our CTO, answered yes, but this is not documented. But the endpoint is here. So then we just need to follow this endpoint. And then they said, cool, I'll try that. So, well, what I did is I took this conversation and I placed it in our code base for the entire agent framework that I've been going over. I'll show you how it works. So let me restart the script. So it has the Slack conversation in context, and what it's doing is it's running a couple of the agents that we already like set up to one fetch like the context of the conversation, and then it's going to also read like that link that our CTO sent to understand where it might apply the change and what the change should be. So it's going to go through and do that. Um, okay. And then it's given us update describing that this documentation needs to be updated on how to filter requests by the source ID. And it's giving us the source of where it's thinking to do the update in. And since I've run this demo multiple times before this clock, I know that that's like the right source to update for this. So right now I'm like doing the role of the router agent. You would typically have a router agent that assesses the output of each agent and like determines if it should move forward or not. But for a live demo, I'm just proceeding as the router agent, the human router agent. So now it understands that this is new knowledge. That was just the insight finder, and it's going to figure out what is the exact changes it needs to make from the documentation that it just received. So it's going forth right now, and it's reading the that same file about how to do APIs and RAG in our API, and it's running a couple different tools to figure out what the exact change should be. Um, so it's going forth and it's running. We use Claude Sonnet 4. We find that this is like the best right now in terms of code reviewing and just like technical knowledge. So that's a nice tip. So it's going through, it's still running. Okay. And it found that it wants to update this source with the following, and just like reviewing it and my knowledge of like how the API is formatted. This is pretty correct. So then I'm gonna proceed after it finalizes. Um, Still running a couple tools to validate that this is the right to run. Uh, and give it a second. Should finish up soon. So it's just redoing itself because it found an error real quick. I should validate soon. Okay. What else? Mm, yeah, this is how long it takes usually. Uh, okay, finally. So it found it. That was like something that was like turning in the logs, but it's the same documentation update. It's saying that we need to include this specific source and update the documentation with this. And I say that looks good to go. So then I'm executing the smart publisher, and it's going to run the GitHub agent that we have, and it's going to create a pull request for the documentation update that adds that specific source ID filtering information in our RAG API. So if we go to our docs, if we go to our docs and then go to our pull requests, yeah, we can see that this is the docs writer test that I should just commented now, like what the changes that were made that is now adding the filtering by source section to the RAG API documentation and so forth. And it made the actual code changes. And this respects our existing documentation flow. We generally just like want to open a PR and have that approved by a maintainer. So yeah, that's how it would work in real life. Thank you. Yeah. So just wrapping up, two more slides left. If you were thinking about Yeah, so that's just like the three flow. Like, so there was three agents here, like the Insight Finder, the Content Architect, and the Smart Publisher. You can think about using this in different triggers, like a support ticket that's resolved, or maybe like a question from your internal sales team. You can trigger this from any like insight that might be like a source of knowledge, or even like a GitHub issue close. And the outputs don't just have to be documentation updates. It could be like drafts of blog posts for your marketing site, or a video script if you run video for your online team, or even social media posts. And doesn't just have to be those three agents. It could be something that works alongside, like outside after the content architect. It could be a style guide enforcer that just understands like how you like to format your docs, or after the draft gets updated, maybe a SEO optimizer. I've seen a couple agents that are doing this that just understands what's like the hot topic of the week, what might get prioritized if you include these keywords in your online blog post, or even if you have like multiple downstream like countries that have different languages that they read your docs in, you can throw in translation engines on top of the output to move forward. So, yeah, with that, just the knowledge to improve your docs it already exists in your everyday user interactions. And the AI right now is up to date and is ready to like take those interactions and make it applicable to your end users. The question is just are you ready to start experimenting with these changes or not? And if you are, just let me know. We power these for many customers, and yeah, thank you for paying attention.